What are some of your earliest musical influences?
My influences go back to the Kingsmen. Remember Louis July? I really love the sound of that guitar that he did. And of course, Albert King. I listened a lot to Albert King. And of course, there were some other tunes that came on. Of course, Hendrix came out. Hendrix, big influence on me. And other artists that have made it in big times, which weren't so popular back then, local talent, the Human Beings, and people like that. The guys did that song, I Can't Wait Forever. I forget the name of that band, but that was some of the influences that I had back then.
Any local influences from Youngstown, Ohio?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, the Human Beings. They had that song, No, 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 No. Remember that song?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Human Beings were in town, and that was an influence I had. And then Dennis Jablonski, which was a local band back in Ohio, did very well. He pretty much set a scene like it looked like the Black Crowes, as you would say, like that. And then, of course, Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh, he played a lot back in Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, Warren, Ohio, the Freak Out, places like that. He had that Dear Mr. Fantasy voice, just like Stevie Winwood. I used to watch Joe. I jammed on the same stage as he did. He was just a local band at the time. And he influenced us a lot back then. Of course, there was Phil Cavey from Glass Harp. He was back there, too. There's some other local bands that we were called the Spontaneous Combustion back then. We played on Geneva on the Lake. So there's a lot of other bands that cruised through there. Some bands I can't even tell you. There's a lot of artists out there that were very good, very skillful. You never heard anything of them. But they set the scene. Just like the people that did the cuts in the pants for the hippies. They cut out the sides and made their bell bottoms. Somebody started that, but they don't know who really did. The credit could go to somebody who probably started it. We don't know who it was. See? So there's a lot of artists. Fenton Street Bars, these old players used to play Johnny B. Good and all that good old rock and roll stuff and surfer type music. And they were stone drunk on stage. And I used to just watch them. I was just a little guy, and they asked me to come on up, and I went up there and started playing jamming with them, and they'd play it, I'd play it, and they'd play it, and they got kind of like, wow, look at this little blankety blank. Man, everything I play, he's playing. And he's catching it, he's got it. Those are my influences.
How did you meet and start playing with Dick Dale?
Well, how I met Dick Dale was, first of all, I'm from Ohio, and it was a little bit embarrassing at first, but we were playing at a club, and Dick Dale was touring in Hawaii, and the band that he had at a particular time, I guess for some reason couldn't go on. His manager asked us to be the band, his house band at a club that Dick Dale had in Van Buren, off of Van Buren, Riverside, California, called Dick Dale's. And Dick Dale got back, and he liked our band, and started working with us, and they got up on stage and started going, and all this and that, and he says, I want you guys to play Ms. Lou. And I says, what song's that? Being from Ohio, of course, he had the record on the wall in the case, and this is back when he was younger. Of course, I was younger. And he liked working with us, and we started doing shows. And he was married to Jeannie, which is his wife, Jeannie Dale, and she was embarked in part of the show. So we did all that. We did a good variety. We did good Vegas-style acts, and he liked working with us. And then he took us down to RCA Records, and I did get a chance to record with him. We did some cover tunes and a couple of his versions of "You Are My Sunshine" and things like that. And I never did hear the album though. But that's how I started working with Dick Dale.
Out of all the musical instruments used, why the guitar?
Well, I played the accordion first, and then I saw the Beatles. I saw a little clip of the Beatles, and it was in the 60s, early 60s, and I saw the girls all chasing the van, and how they liked guitar players. So that's what I wanted to be. I want to be a guitar player because of the girls. That's the reason why I started playing guitar.
How did you get involved working with such greats as Walt Mariner and Wayne Cook from Player?
Walt Mariner, his real name was Jimmy. Well, actually, his real name was Walt Mariner. He went by Jimmy Miller as a producer. I was playing with the band Phoenix, and he worked with one of my artists there, which was Jackie. She was a guitar player, and he happened to come to the show, and he liked what I did. He liked what I played. He asked me, he goes, how would you like to go and do some recordings? Of course, he wrote Leader of the Pack, and Going to Chapel, he produced Poco, Traffic, Stevie Nicks, and he's worked the Rumor album. He's been on a lot of that. And a lot of the songs, Society's Child, and all this and that. And I let him hear some of my tunes. And I did a lot of recording and writing, and he rated me with Paul McCartney with my writing, and which I was very impressed with that, because I've always admired Paul McCartney, and of course John Lennon and all that. Paul McCartney's an excellent writer, excellent performer. Me, I just I didn't really sink in, but then it finally sunk in, and I see what he was talking about. I did work with him. Unfortunately, we were recording in Sound City. We were getting ready to go to Capitol to do our mixing, and fortunately, he was ill. I didn't know it. He kept saying his wife was ill, but it was really him. And unfortunately, he died of a heart attack. We were supposed to go to the studio on Monday, but he canceled the session because he wasn't feeling well. He went in the hospital later on that day. And I saw him about 2 o'clock, and he was still producing when he was on the bed. I told him, you need to rest. You rest. Stop producing. I come back about 5, and the nurses told me that he passed away at 4:30. So we didn't get a chance to get that off the ground, but even though he was an all-American artist, that was his publishing company, he did let me get involved with my own musical publishing company, working with ASCAP, which is Bendham Music. I'm with ASCAP, and I just decided to pick up and move on with a lot of the tunes that he picked, and a lot of them I have been recording, and I'm going to pick up the pieces from there.
How did you meet Tim Cianci, Mad Dog Dave, Abel, and Monique?
Well, I met Monique. We were playing a Halloween party, and I met her, and we decided she likes to sing a lot of karaoke and stuff, so I got her number, and we started working, and I took her training wheels off of her karaoke and bent them up and told her to start playing and sing with the band, so she's been doing that very well. And then, of course, my sound man also does karaoke a lot, but he loves his own sound. So he likes to sing a few tone tunes, and we get him up there and we sing. And then Mad Dog Dave and Tim Cianci, I work with them in a band called Phoenix. And later on we called ourselves the Phoenix Foundation. I had my styles, and I worked with them a lot, and I decided to work with my Rudy T band. And I've helped a lot of bands, played with a lot of bands. I decided now it's time for me to push Rudy T in my writing and my performing and everything, so I use Mad Dog Dave and Tim, and we just pick on in there. And I've got there's a couple other artists on the video, like Avell, he plays on there too. And I got Dago Hagen, he plays on a few of the videos there. He's in town here in Escondido. And actually Valley Center, he lives up in Valley Center. And Avell lives over in, I believe it's northern San Diego.
Why the name Rudy T?
Well, my brother always called me, my name is Tim Rudy, but my brother always said, Rudy T. He always called me Rudy T. And I told my producer that, and he goes, and I started using it. And my producer, Jimmy Miller, Walt Mariner, says, Rudy T. He goes, I like that. It's cool. So I started using the name Rudy T. That's where it came from.
What equipment do you use?
Well, first as you know, I use Stratocasters. For some reason, people have been calling me the master of the Stratocaster, which is cool. I use those, and I use a Mark I Mesa Boogie. When Mesa Boogie first started coming out, if you watch my videos, you'll see that it's like a bamboo front, and like the old chairs you used to have, and it has a mahogany body. And it's pretty basic. It's Mark I, when Mesa Boogie first started making them. They started with their A0 or 0001, A0001, and of course the mine number is really low. It's one of the first ones that they made, and I love the sound of it. There's no other amp that I've tried that can compare to it. I've tried Marshall's. There's only one amp called the Top Hat. Come kind of close, but nothing can compare to that Mesa Boogie. And of course I use the old Crybaby Wah-Wah. I use once in a while. I use the Tube Screamer by Diogenes, and once in a while I'll use an octave, or I'll use, very seldom will I use any effects. I like to play clean. I feel if you play clean, if you make a mistake you hear it, but if you do it right you hear it too. So it's important for me. I think the clean sound and the clean type amp, I don't even use reverb. I like to be skillful at what I do, and I don't want to miss any little tone that I do and be covered up and crutched by any effect. So that's why I use that.
Did it take a lot of practice to play the guitar in non-traditional styles, or did you feel that you were natural at doing so?
Well, actually, I've always had the ability. My first guitar that I grabbed only had 2 strings. And boy, I went up and down that neck and up and down and figured all kinds of stuff on that. And I just grabbed it and started playing it. And I hear something, and I've watched people play, and it was kind of natural to me. It was so within 3 months, I was already playing in a bar somewhere, and my dad was up there passing the hat. So it was pretty natural to me. Yeah.
What is your favorite band?
Well, my favorite band, I believe of all time, I would say would be the Beatles. The Beatles are my favorite band. They influenced me the most. Their writing abilities, and they were like the core. And then branched off to bands like the Cream, Blind Faith, people like that kind of took off from there.
What is your favorite blues singer?
My favorite blues singer was probably Diddley. I like that style, you know what I mean? That's my favorite blues singer, I would say. There's other singers that do the blues very well, like Clapton does a good job doing blues. But I think Bo Diddley had that best blues drawl that I like the best.
Favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan song, and why?
Well, my favorite Stevie Ray song would be, as an artist himself, that I like the best that he did, as far as his style in expressing his playing, would be Riviera Paradise. And then, of course, next in line would be Lenny, and then, of course, good old Pride and Joy and things like that kind of follow that line. All right, I had a request for this song.
your sweet time. Get right back to you. What do you say? Get right back to you. The rest of my day.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to slow down a little bit of blues for you.
If given the opportunity, who would you love to jam with?
If I get an opportunity, I love to jam with Eric Clapton. I listened to a lot of Eric Clapton when I was younger, because not only Albert King, Eric Clapton, like I said, Blind Faith, and all these people like that were in there, and the Cream, and to me, Eric Clapton I'd love to jam with. I would like to jam with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. He's got that Stevie style. I had that Stevie style. My brother gave me a Stevie Wayne record a long time ago and said, "Listen to this. Check this out." It's like my style, and I played it a couple times and put the tape in, pulled it out. The tape flew out and landed behind my truck, and it landed in some soda and messed up the tape, so I didn't get a chance to really hear it like I wanted to, but I did hear some of it, But those are some people I like to jam with, Robert Cray, I love to jam with him. And another guy I like to jam with would be John Mayer. He's got that good Strat sound that I love. I love to jam with him sometime. But you never know, who knows.
Best gig ever played, or even better yet, worst gig you ever played?
Well, the best gig was actually quite a few best gigs. I played at the Freakout back in Ohio when we were just, I was 15 years old. We did The Who at the end of the show. It was teenage night because we were underage, and it was packed. This is in Niles, Ohio. It's on the border of Niles and Warren, a place called the Freakout. And we rocked the place. We were Spontaneous Combustion. And we were doing a lot of the Hendrix. We did the Doors and all that. And then the Blue Cheers, sometime blues and all that style. We were like a heavy metal type band at the time, but we did good blues type style in there too. And then we did The Who at the end of the show. And far as the worst show I've ever done, I can't say there was any really worst ones. I would say there are those that when you play, your amp gives you problems, or something happens here, or the lighting, the neon lights are making these noises in your amp. So I think it's within me. The worst show I've ever did is within me. Just like Stevie Ray said. He goes, "Why am I sabotaging myself?" Stevie Ray said that in an interview. He goes, "Because people are digging it. Because I look to be perfected and I want it good. And every time I play, I'm disappointed because it's not good enough for me." So for me to rate a bad show, I would like to say there's quite a few bumps in the road.
As a blues purist myself, I must ask, Mississippi Delta-style blues or Chicago electric-style blues?
Well, I would say Mississippi Delta blues. That's the good raw blues right there. And your electric blues kicked off after that, but that's good, Mississippi Delta. Yeah, definitely.
Should Robert Johnson be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think you should. A lot of your English bands that came over did a lot of his tunes. A lot of rockers did his tunes. And he pretty much set the format, you know. He was back in his early days, and he should be, yeah, definitely.
Any particular moment when you knew you had to get involved with helping school kids get involved with music and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I had the privilege of working at Mount San Jacinto College here in California, working with R.B. Stone. He was doing a project, and we went to the studio down at the college. And we recorded it. We taught the kids how to record, how to do the rhythm tracks, and to do the, of course, the bass drums and rhythm, basically. And then, of course, we did our leads and did our vocals, and we taught them how to dub, do your overdubs and punch-ins. Of course, back then you did more punch-ins. They have a lot of digital stuff now, where they just do it with the screen. But back then you just had to do the punch-in. And then we did a video, and we were teaching the kids how to do video. And how we sync the video with the recording. Each time we would film, and that kind of went that way. And of course, I teach kids. My youngest student was 6. My oldest student was 76. So I look at people as they're all kids.
Which is the better Led Zeppelin song, Stairway to Heaven or When the Levee Breaks?
I think When the Levee Breaks, yeah, it gives more of the rocker. Stairway to Heaven was kind of like Wipeout or Freebird. It was kind of like all your guitar players, what they wanted to play was Freebird, Wipeout, you know, Stairway to Heaven. So I think that I like the other one. It's more rocker. It's more of a rocker type style. That's what I like.
Any bites on a major record label?
Yeah, matter of fact, well, like I said, when I worked with Walt Marner, Jimmy Miller, he was working with Atco and Atlantic Records. This is a few years back. This is back when they were still around and teaming together, whatever they're doing. And he was already working with Warner Brothers, and they were going to. They had 4 people they were hiring to do a song, which was going to be on the flip side of my record. So I was going to do a song called Millionaire, and I had a song on the other side that was going to be called Divided Highway. Warner Brothers had the publishing rights to that one. And, of course, I had publishing rights to Millionaire, which is on the other side. So we were embarking on working with those 2 record labels. And then also he set up to be touring. This is when Celine Dion first got moving on, first come on the scene. And we were supposed to set up some live shows and tours with certain people like the Smashing Pumpkins, Celine Dion, and so on. So I even mentioned Rod Stewart back in that time. But like I said, unfortunately, I was heartbroken. I loved the man. He was a Christian man. He loved the Lord a lot. And when he passed away, it was like a big blow. But that's how that all happened.
thoughts on TV shows like American Idol and The X Factor?
Well, I think American Idol is very good for the young people. I think if you're over a certain age, you record companies like Young Faces and so on, even though there's people like Monty Ray didn't get started until she was later on. But as far as judges, I've done contests back in Ohio where we didn't win, but they put us on TV. They didn't put the other ones on TV, but they put us on TV because we had the show and the kick and the feel. So I think I don't like just having 3 judges, but I do like the fact that they do ask all the audience. So they balance it out. They got the 3 judges, and they do very well. They do good at checking people out. I did get a chance to work with my lead singer in Cold Steel Band I played with, his daughter. We opened up for Carrie Underwood. So I did get a chance to see her live and then to rap a little bit to her man. We were playing at the Morongo one time, and she did very well. She, part of American Idol, I think they did very good on picking the winners. So, and the public just does a good job picking.
Do you see music as released to the masses getting better or getting worse?
Well, I think music is like waves. It's kind of like clothing. Back in the 50s, you had certain clothing, jeans and this and that, and the style of the hair hanging in the front and all this and that. And then that drifts on into where they got the long hair, remember hair, and all that came on in, and the type of clothes of the hippie scene. And then it goes around to the 80s where they had the big high heels and Kiss and all this and that. And then it moves along, and then, of course, they had the Hendrix era and, that era, and then, the Led Zeppelin. But then it gets in the 80s, and then it gets into more of the disco style, and then they had the music is basic electronics, and all this and that, and it goes in spurts. So I can't really say that the music's getting better or worse. I know style that country music nowadays to me is like Creedence Clearwater style. It's our old rock and roll. It's basically what it is, country music. And there's a lot of leads in there that are hard rock leads, but they fit it in the country realm. They put a little corn in there to give it that country sound. But as far as music getting better or worse, I think it's just like fads. It just goes in one big circle. Pretty soon the kids are picking up down by the boardwalk, or to when the night is come. That's an old song. My son said to me one time, "Hey, Dad," he's 16. He goes, "Dad, let me listen to this new band." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "They're called The Doors." I kind of chuckled. I says, I was 16 when I listened to The Doors. And at the time, I was like in my 40s, almost 50s, about my 40s, I think it was, when he told me that. And I says, music does this. It just circles around. And it keeps going. And just as long as we as artists don't get too complicated in what we're doing, just like these guys are doing all this fancy stuff and these good old jazz chords. You get that good, clean, let simplicity be your friend. When you're writing, when you're performing, whatever, keep it simple, but make it professional. And it always works.
Mary had a little lamb. His face was black as coal, yeah. Everywhere that child went, the lamb was sure to go, yeah. Followed her to school one day. Helped the teacher her room. Oh, what a time did I have on that day at school.
disket. Come on, ask it. A green and yellow basket. I'm gonna let him shoot my baby out. On my way high past you. Come on, Tasca, baby. My green and yellow basket. I wrote a letter to my baby out on my way past you.